Bueno, pues vamos a escuchar la segunda ponencia, el mango, una industria mundial. Nuestro ponente es el doctor Ping Lu. El doctor Ping Lu es el actual presidente del Grupo de Trabajo del Mango de la Sociedad Internacional por la Ciencia Hortícola.
Él es experto en la fisiología, irrigación y manejo del dosel del mango.
Fue el organizador de la 9ª y de la 12ª edición del Simposio Internacional del Mango.
Es también socio editor de la revista internacional Fruits y trabaja en establecer la Asociación Mundial del Mango. Él nos va a dar la charla, El mango, una industria mundial, y lo recibimos con un fuerte aplauso a este congreso, por favor.
Welcome, Dr. Ping Lu.
Buenos días. Muy bien. First, I would like to thank you to the AMEX and also Francisco for your invitation to come to present here to address you. My talk, I give the title of my talk is Mango, a Global Industry. So as introduced, I'm the chairperson of the Mango Working Group of the International Society for Horticultural Science, and I'm also the recently elected chairperson of the Chinese Mango Industry Alliance. So I probably know a little bit of both of those subjects. And I would like first to talk a little bit about the International Society for Horticultural Science. It's something like ISHS. Everyone knows that, the Horticultural Science Society. And we have over thousands of individuals members, and also we have the institutes members. As well, we have 60 country members. So it's an international organization which was established in 1864. So it has a very long history of this society. So this society is actually devoted to the horticultural research, education, and industry issues to improve the human beings, and also to build and maintain the human knowledge and skills and biological resources in support of worldwide horticulture. So everything to do with the horticulture is actually dealt with by this society. To be more relevant, the Mango Working Group. Mango Working Group is a part of the society. It's just subsections of the Horticultural Society. So what we are doing is organize international symposium every 3 to 4 years, and we promote and coordinate international efforts on research relevant to mango. And the working group was established in 1966. By then, we only have 20 members. Now, we have more than 450 members across the world. Since then, the mango planting area has increased by more than 440%. And the chairman, as you can understand, the first almost 14 years was an Indian gentleman was the chairperson, and then handed to another gentleman is Indian as well, Dr. Chadha, and then was handed to Israel scientist, Professor Gazit, and then in 2010, Dr. Victor Galansoko, many of you know him, and was the chairperson. I became the chairperson of the section in 2015. The international symposium, we had organized already so far 12 symposiums in the last more than 40, 50 years. And the first two was in India, and then come to Darwin, where I come from, in Australia, in the north of Australia, close to the Indonesia, where you can see it's a tropical area. And then was held in Miami, in USA. Then moved to Israel, Thailand, Brazil, South Africa, China, Dominican Republic. Go back to Australia in 2015, and then go back to China 2017. Next year, we will have the International Mango Symposium. That's the international ones. These are all the countries of the delegates will attend that conference. It will be in Malacca, Spain. So welcome next year to Malacca. And we'll have English and Spanish, the translation, simultaneous translations. So it's very easy for you guys to understand. And 2023, I'm now currently working with Francisco, and it seems that the EMEX have intention to organize the next one symposium in Mexico. Thank you. First, my talk actually use a lot of information from my colleagues. First, I would like to acknowledgement of their contribution, Victor Galansoko, Yuval Cohen from Israel, and Professor Chen and Mr. Pen in China, and Peter Bice from South Africa, and also the trade website, that, and also the FAO statistics, and also a recent publication by Anna as a part of the trade website. That publication is very interesting, very useful, I think, for the growers or the industry people. So I encourage you to have a look at the trade web page. So, what are mangoes? I think we start with what is the mango? So mango is the world's 5th most important fruit in production in the quantity tons. So that's behind bananas, apple, grape, and orange. And so mango is the 5th in the world fruit production. Mango is the 2nd most important crop in the tropical fruit, just behind the banana. And you will see the statistics also include coconut. But coconut is not really for the fresh fruit consumption. It's a lot has been used for processing, so I just not include coconut within the statistics here. Just a very quick snapshot, what is the current situation with the mangoes? As you can see that the current price in average across the world is actually around $2 a kilo. And the top producer is still very much India. India is really dominant the international mango productions, but majority of them is internal domestic consumption. It's not much getting to the international market, so it doesn't really affect you guys. Mexico, we are the top exporter. Okay, there has been the top exporter for many, many years. Congratulations to you. And the most interesting, the most important importer is your next door neighbor, USA. So you are very lucky, next to the biggest market. And they are far from saturated the market, so you have a lot of potential to do that. So just give you a quick summary of what the production growth over the time. This side is the production in tons, metric tons, and another side is the harvest area. that numbers you need to take with a little bit of salt because, as you understand, the international statistics is always have a little bit of problem. I will show you later. So what is interesting is the growth is really, increasing very fast. So the current data available is 2017 from the FAO's website. It's about 50.6 million metric tons. That's the world total quantity of the mango production. On another side is the harvest area or cultivated area. I believe there are some problem numbers of there. So could be the total area on the plantation, the mango plantation. It's about 5.7 million hectares. If you compare the quantity of the production and the current area of the production, it's about, in average, 10 tons per hectare, if my calculation is right. I think you guys is doing better. It's around 20 tons per hectare, almost 10. Oh, excellent. It's the international average. Excellent. Good. And just have a look at who is the major player in the mango productions. You can see by far the Indians lead the way. They have 19 million, almost 20 million tons of the mango productions, followed by China mainland. I'm challenging that number. They said 4.7 million. I will tell you the story after that. Then followed by Thailand. The number is 3.8 million. But again, I'm a bit doubt of that number. Mexico, I think it's the official number. I can see from the FAO website, it says that it's an official number. You are about 2 million tons per year. That's excellent. Then followed by Pakistan, Brazil, Bangladesh, Egypt, Malawi. That's really interesting. I only this year noticed that the FAO statistics including Malawi into the first 10 top player of the mango production. I thought that's the truth. Okay, again, they said it's an official number, but really I haven't seen Malawi much in terms of mango production. Nigeria has been on the statistics for a long time. I believe that's true. But Malawi, I have a doubt. I think I'm open to people challenge me. I said China, the international, the FAO statistics says it's actually close to 5 million tons of mangoes. I said that's highly exaggerated. I have worked with the Chinese counterparts, and I get all the statistics from their local government, and they come up only half of that number. So it's about 2 million tons rather than 5 million tons. So it's around 2 point, as you can see, the tonnage is 2.4 million tons of mangoes. And then it's distributed per regions, Hainan, Guangxi, Yunnan, and Sichuan province, and then the rest. And also the area is only 2.4 million hectares. But very interesting, that's the numbers from 2017. Actually, the statistics is actually, the most recent one is 2019. Actually, yesterday I downloaded the numbers. What it says, even in 2014, the FAO already reporting, 5.5 million tons. And China has increased the productions very fast recently. By far, we are not that number in 2014. So there's some problem with the statistics with the FAO, the calculation statistics. I'm very much trust the numbers I have from my colleagues in China because they know what's happening. Everyone told me the FAO statistic was wrong, at least for China. And Malawi, I can see it's also wrong. And it seems that Mexico is correct because you reported officially to FAO. So China, if we reduce China to 2.5, so then China will be not second, we probably will be the third, swapped with Thailand. Again, Thailand number might be not right neither. So your number is very correct. So Mexico is correct. You can probably progress into the third, very probably, but depends. Okay, so in terms of export, that will be interesting. That's the most recent data, 2018 data. So, but you can see Mexico is the first exporter. You actually takes up 14% of the international world mango exportations. Then followed by Peru, Brazil, and the Netherlands, and the Thailand. Okay, that was very interesting here is the key exporters, the majority of them actually you are Latin Americans, France next to it. So what does that mean? You got a competition. And they are picking up very quickly. They are actually increasing their share in the, try to increase their share in the international trading. So you got the challenges you need to deal with. Thailand doesn't really export to here. That's exporting to China. And India mainly exported to the Middle East and also the UK area. The top mango exporters, as I just explained, Mexico, Peru, and then Brazil is your neighbors, your competitors. So you need to be watchful for that. And also, your shares of the international export is increasing, although the last year, 2018, is slightly less than 2017. But it's expected because we have fluctuation due to the weather conditions. And again, some problem with the statistics, they mix up with the unit. And we often find this type of mistakes everywhere in the international statistics. And we need to be careful with those numbers. Okay, now we're moving to the where is mango were produced and what's the market time. This is based on Victor Galansoco's slides. And it says actually Mexico have almost 10 months of the mango productions. That's great. I hope you can expand it to year-round. Yes. And what is interesting here, have a look at China. Officially, China only have probably 6 months of the mango production at the bottom. That's original. If we don't do any horticultural practice to manage the flowering and the fruiting, actually China have done a lot of effort on managing the flowering. You can promote early flowering or postpone the flowering, and also use different cultivars, the early fruiting cultivars and the later fruiting cultivars. So actually they can now almost have 12 months mango protections. But certainly the volume is still peaked within the key areas in summer time, but it's already getting to the winter. So Mexico can do that, absolutely can do that. And I know there's some challenges, but let's deal with it. Okay. Mango is a global industry. They certainly, they have all the opportunities, global opportunities and the global challenges that will affect the mango industry. I will quickly go through some of this. I need to see it myself. So what is interesting things in terms of top opportunities and drivers for mango industry is the economic development in Asia. As we can understand, the middle class in Asia is really surging, especially in China. And also China, if you have heard of China's One Belt and One Road project, I will come back on that. And that actually really increases the logistic advancement and economic development in Central Asia and South Asia, as well in Africa and attaching the Europe. I come back on that. And also the increased consumers' desire for quality and diverse exotic fruits in European and North American developed countries. So that's the opportunity for you guys. And also developments in science and technology, logistics developments, and a new, for example, new irradiation treatment. You will hear tomorrow or today talking about that one, and it's very good advancement. And e-commerce. I don't know how is that e-commerce developed in Latin America or Mexico, but in China, e-commerce really take at least 40% of the mango sales. But it's very much linked with China's level, at very advanced levels of the logistics. The logistics in China is really now advanced. And also, the promoters for the mango industry is the rise of the national, regional, and continental industry bodies. I come back on that. New cultivars is the fruits of better handle ability, shelf life, visual appeal, and eating qualities are increasing in the world. Also, I come back on that one later on. High-density plantation with trees of small canopy, improved mango flowering and fruiting, management in subtropical. As you can see, the Spain mango production is increasing. Next year, if you attend the Spain International Symposium, you will hear more about it. I will not talk about it today. And next thing is not really fitting into the opportunity or challenges, but it's a very good observation, is the mango quality and the market proximity still the keys for the industry success. Your success of Mexico's mango industry success is very much actually based on the second one, the market proximity to the biggest market, USA. So this is just a big comment. Then challenges for the industry, global industry, will be, we have more competitions. And many countries now is developing mangoes, so there's a lot of competition in the market. And also we want to have a diverse products. It's not only fresh mango anymore. We want to have more. I'll come back on that as well. And also we are on the push for ecologically friendly industry. I think many people will talk about that today or tomorrow here, so I will not talk too much about that. One thing I like to talk about is the global change, the global warming. I will come back on that later on. Another thing that maybe affected the most of countries, but not you, is the trade war between China and the USA. That's very relevant to many countries, probably not you. The market access issues, for example, the inappropriate quarantine control, sometimes overkilled, sometimes it's lack of the quarantine control. That's really bad thing. Another thing is people here, as an exporter and also the trader, you need to be very careful with the China factor. What does that mean? China, with his over 1 billion population, their purchasing power is so big, they can flat the, suddenly flat the market or flat out the market and have huge demand. And they can have a big push for you guys to develop your mango industry or something like cherry or whatever, but you need to be very careful with China. And because China is developing their own industry very fast, so you need to be very careful when you develop your industries. You need to be on a sustainable level and also be aware what China have in their own country. Take example of mango industry. Although China is still very hungry about the international mangoes importations, but at the same time, very soon, the Chinese mango own production will be flooded the market. Why? Because they have already expanded so much in the last 4 years. I'm worried that we will have oversupply, but the Chinese project of one road and one build will help them to smooth that issue. I'll come back on that very quickly. And also, China have this big capital monster. In China, I see they have investors coming to the mango growers. They want to invest in the mango industry. They come with a lot of money, they don't know what to do. That's very dangerous. You have seen China have this, what are called shared bicycle in the world. And it was a good thing for 4 or 5 years, and then become a total disaster because millions and millions of shared bicycles was actually dumped. Most of them are brand new, never come out of the warehouse. Why? Because there are so many of capitals have invested into the industry without much study of the market. The same thing happens with Apple in China, and it can happen also with the mangoes. We need to be very careful with that one as well. So anything to deal with China, especially in terms of the crop development, you need to be careful. One of the things is, I think, is the cherry from Peru. They have enjoyed the very sudden huge increase in their exportation from Peru to China. But I heard just a couple of days ago, I read the news of internal news. They're talking about Peru have delivered a very large quantity of the good quality cherry to China. But this year it's been quiet. It's not really attract much of attention of the consumer. That need to be very careful. Okay, Peru has put a lot of energy and resources into the development of the cherry. And if China is starting to slow down or even replace it by their own product, that's not good for Peru. So we need to be careful. We always need to be on the sustainable level and we develop maybe a new market. Okay, going back to the other issues we have is the widespread of pest and disease. Some of the long-term disease such as the malformation actually is spanning from South Asia into the neighboring countries or even other countries. We need to be watchful for that. And also lack of government funding to the long-term research, especially the long-term breeding program. What happens is that many countries like USA and Israel, Australia, they got cut on the long-term funding for the breeding program. I really encourage countries like Mexico and others to really invest into the long-term breeding program because that's the future for us. So I also want to touch on what is the development in other countries. What can we learn from? So I will touch on that as well. There's a lot of things to talk about. This is the famous One Road and One Build initiative. It's a huge, that's the planned project. China will develop the railways through the Central Asia into Europe and through the Africa, and then they develop also at the same time the maritime, the road or build a road, mainly serving the Southeast Asia, South Asia, and also Africa. So if this project becomes successful, that will really improves or increase international trade of the many things, including mangoes. So this was the plan. In reality, what happened recently is so many countries have signed on these initiatives. I'm very pleased also to note that some countries in the Latin America also joined the One Belt and Road projects. But Mexico looks like we are not really into it. I think we should consider that. And I'm pleased to see it. Although it's distance, but it will you are trading with China, the biggest market, becoming biggest market. So it's really, they get a lot of good feedbacks. That will affect majority the trade with Africa, Asia, and Europe. Not really much with America continents and South America continents, but it looks like starting also have impact. And I said the rise of the national and international industry bodies. I'm very pleased that we have the USA mango bodies really picking up the strength and is doing very well. And the Australia mango industry also is one of the good industry association and very successful. Last 2 years ago, we had the chairperson come here, present to the MX conference as well. And another one is the Israel Mango Association, South Africa Mango Association. These are all quite good player in the national mango industry. And 2017, I attended the first conference, EMEX conference. I noticed that the Mexico Mango Growers and Exporters Association is very powerful. You are very good. You're doing a very good job, so congratulations. And only in this year, 2019, in early of this year, and China has established the Chinese Mango Industry Alliance. And I'm actually the chairperson. I have worked on that more than 10 years to try to establish a national body, but finally they getting the shape. But it's not really activate for the moment, but I'm still pushing for that. This is the mango I found in my local market exported from Mexico. In my local market, local supermarket. Could be come from Francisco's place. As I said, the international levels, we are actually creating, using the molecular biology technology to improve mango breeding. But mango is still a relatively understudied crop. We don't make much more movement yet, so we still lack genetics and genomics resources to enhance the progress in mango research and the development and the breeding. We don't know much about mango's heritability, genetic, what the traits can pass on, what is controlled, and we don't know much about it. The good thing is actually, we have now several drafts of the genomic sequences now available. One is the India one, USDA just recently, last month or 2 months ago, published one of the genomics sequence. And Australia have one in draft for the last several years, but I haven't published officially. So it's happening, and China is currently doing one as well. So there's a lot of things happening, but we need to collaborate across the international scene to really get a map of the world mango genomic. Mango breeding program, it's happening everywhere, especially in those leading countries such as India, Australia, Israel, South Africa, and China. That's also have their national level breeding programs. Mango board, Marco, you are doing very well. And I read also that you are actually helping your member countries to develop their mango breeding programs. I think Mexico, you also are starting to look to the mango breeding program. And then I think today we will hear from the session of moderated by Norris and others talking about a mango breeding program. That's great. It's really encouraged to have a mango breeding program in Mexico. Australia mango has a very long history of the breeding program. Also, Australia is a small, tiny player in the mango productions, but they're very active in research. And myself was involved. I'm the one of the leader of the National Mango Breeding Program, representing CSIRO, the research agency, the top research agency of Australia, since 1994. That's the year I joined CSIRO, and also I became an Australian citizen. And also they have a private selections and the breeding program. That's also we try to encourage every growers to be a breeder. It's easy. You just look in your own farm or orchard. Sometimes you will observe something strange or different. That could be a very good variety for you in the future. So we call it the spot or the chance seedlings. Just watch for about it. And many of those good variety actually come from the growers' observation and selections in their own orchard. I have myself actually got observed and selected one of the chance seedling. We'll talk later. So the Australian mango program have resulted in many released varieties, and you probably have heard of R2E2, that big mangoes, and also Calypso, B74, Honey Gold, National Mango Breeding Program 1201. What does that mean, 12? Anything 12 is actually a crossing between Owen and the Kensington Pride. Anything started with 12. So that's mangoes come from the National Mango Breeding Program. That's one I'm involved in. The favorite is 1201 and 1213. That's actually the crossing between Owen and Kensington. And then another one is 4069. Currently, this is actually for Australian growers to take. I think international growers can also try as under agreement. Indian, they have also a very active breeding program, and that's a couple of them here. Israel has been very active breeding program in 80s, 90s, and unfortunately the funding cut off in 20s. I think Norris will probably talk more about the breeding program, so I'm just very limited on what I can show you within limited time. Mango industry, that's another thing. As I said, I will talk about the other countries of their things, their research, their industry, something we can learn. And it's relevant to Mexico growers. You might want to see what is the Chinese key cultivars. Guifei, Tainong #1 is Taiwan agriculture #1. Many of you who has been in China has already tested them, and like Emmanuel has already tested most of them. Jinghuang and White Ivory. That's the main varieties in China. But China also have a region which is southeast of China, very close to the Yangtze River. They use most of the Florida varieties, such as Kent, Zio, and also the Kit. Very successful. The quality is top. It's very good. So really, we needed to try different varieties in Mexico, and I think your cultivars is too limited. You need to expand that really. The China is geographically, topographically very variable. In terms of mango planting, it's very rare to have any flats. It's most of it on the hills, on the mountains. So I haven't seen the Mexico mango plantation. So I don't have much view. I think this weekend I will have a tour around the Puerto Vallarta to see what the Mexico mango production and the planting looks like. So I cannot comment much about that. Next time. So as you can see, the slope, some mangoes grow into very high slope against the national standard. The national standard said it's 23 degree. You cannot above 23 degree, and that's far from 30, more than 30 degrees. So it's a erosion problem is an issue. I said you are against the national standard. I said it doesn't care. No one control it. And I don't like that because I'm an ecologist as well. So I always talk to them and say that it's not something I'm proud of, okay? You should not do that. And relevant to Mexico. Mexico, as I said, we encourage you guys to experiment the new varieties. But you might be reluctant. You just, it's too hard, too difficult. Have a look at the Chinese. They are very much follow the market. What does the market want? They immediately top walking the tree. And the next year, they can have a commercial production. It's not just a few fruits. They will get some fruit already the first year after that top walking. But commercial level, they're back to the normal productions within 2 years. So you guys can do that. It's just learn the skills. Okay? Encourage you to try. And also bagging. I don't know whether your label is cheap enough, and you have also the demands from your market, want to have a less chemical spread fruit. China bagging is almost 100%. All trees was bagged. Actually, they got the professional bagger. Their job is to do the bagging, and they're traveling around the world. They're professional bagger. So it's interesting. And in Mexico, you might have the low salary people. You can employ label, and that might be something you can try. And also, it's not too expensive, too fancy, but there's integrated pest control, and that's the common in China. Everywhere you see these things, get the insects sucking into attracted by the light or the pheromone, the hormone smell, and then sucking into just using a solar power. And with a small sucker, the fan, they suck the insects in. So it's very common now in China. It's not high tech, but it's useful for the biological control or physical control of the pest. And the drones. People might say this is high tech. It will not be used in the industry. That's wrong. In China, it's used in the industry already. Large scale use of the chemical spray. The drones is very effective in spray. It's much cheaper than the label. And also the Chinese government is concerned with the safety of the operators, because you can see often on TV people just wearing a small mask and doing the chemical spray. I'm worried about that. But now it's changing. The picture is changing. They have over 200,000 of these things operating in China every day. Every day. How much cost it? I checked the latest price. It's less than 10,000 US dollars for each one. That can carry more than 20 liters of chemicals. So it's really developing in China. That's actually the leader in the world in the drones. So a lot was used for the fuel crops, but now it's getting into the tree crops. And for some of the visitors to China, they have seen the operation of these drones on the hill, mountains. It's very hard to get the chemicals to there, but the drones is doing operationally. They are very smart. You just program it, and then the drones will go to each canopies, stop there and hover around, and then move to the next. When the battery is around, they go back to the station, get a change in the battery, and they know where to go back and start again. So everything's automatic. It's not high tech. It's everyday use now in China. And the government is subsidize that. I think it's a great thing to do, because I'm worried about the health and safety of our people involved in the mango planting. And another thing that's interesting in China is, I think Norris noticed that, it's the Chinese insurance companies involved in the mango crop insurance. That's interesting. Actually, the insurance is against the natural disaster and also protection laws. you get some money at least back to buy the next, the agri-chemicals for your next round. And also the minimum price. You can also insure for minimum price. And if, it's this year, the market crashed, at least you got some money back as well. The local government actually subsidizes the cost for the insurance premiums. That's a good thing to do. China, I think I selected a few to be relevant with a Mexico industry, but now with the learnings from South Africa. Interesting is, in South Africa, we have many, many small mango farms, which actually is not really competitive in terms of commercial productions. They are far away from any infrastructure, far away from any major road, and their product cannot be easily be sent to the packing house. And also their fruit quality is not that great neither. It's blemished, and the skin is damaged, and got some disease there. But they have innovated a new product called acha, which actually is like the pickled mango mixed with some chili and salt. And they made very nice acha products. I think I heard the previous speakers talking about the poverty. I think inevitable in the developing countries, we have a larger population in poverty, and it might be useful for Mexico industries. Many of those rejects can be turned into the acha. If this is also your cuisine, what I call the cuisine preference, that will be very useful. But I know this is not really useful for Chinese market because China have different cuisine preference, and we have other source of products already. So this were not successful in China, but might be useful for Mexico. And if anyone interested, and we have a lot of information from South Africa, I can pass on. And also, people talking about the frozen mangoes and the fresh cut. I think Mexico is starting already export fruit to USA. I heard from Marco there talking about this. Currently, you have a plant in USA near US border, but in the future, we might have a plant within Mexico because you are so close to USA. You can have a chilled truck and then can send this through to the USA. And for the moment, all these fresh cut mangoes still need manual handling, people do the manual cutting. And your labels is much cheaper than USA, so it will be much more competitive here if we have a fresh mango cut plant. So that's great. And some movement in Europe, I heard from Victor Galanzuco. He's talking about actually they receive the mangoes with improved West African mangoes, and they're using Kent and Kate. Just remember, I'm trying to be relevant to the Mexico industry. Everything I will say, I have implications. I want to tell you why. Okay, other countries is already involved in the other varieties, other cultivars. I really encourage you guys getting into the other cultivars, not only dealing with the Tommy Atkins. Adolf is good, actually, initiative you did, you use Adolf, but you need to get into the other mangoes. I come back on that. And also your neighbors or your counterparts is Brazil. They already also send the mangoes, better mangoes variety to Europe and get a good acceptability of the market, Europe market. They actually, the more Kent, Kate, Parma, and less Tommy Atkins. The Europeans now prefer better varieties. USA are coming as well, so you need to be innovative. Okay, I come back to that. For the European market, the best market period is actually the second half of September, first half of October. That's the best time for the Latin Americas and Central America to send it to Europe. I know we have very limited of time, 5 minutes, but I need to cover a big subject. And I gave a talk last year in India on the climate change and the poverty, and the climate change on mango industry in the world. It's a complete presentation. It's just too much of information for you guys because you are not scientists. So I have to cut my presentation to be relevant to the growers. You just get understanding a little bit. They don't need to know much, but it's more important for the boss of the association because they are policy making. So that's mainly for them. But you need to understand the impact as well. What is interesting? The UN said that actually the global change could force more than 3 million to 16 million people into extreme poverty. That's a lot. 3 million to 16 million people into the extreme poverty. Many people, it's probably countries are okay, but they might be forced into the poverty as well. So the mainly is through the impact on agriculture and the food. We are in the agriculture field, industry, and we are in the food industry. So that's we need. It's really relevant to people here. Everyone, including me, in Australia. As I said, this is a presentation I gave in India, and the implications of climate change for global mango production, the challenges and the opportunities. I'm still touching on that, but it's only a few slides. Just big pictures. In the next 30 to 50 years, we might have the temperature increase of 2 to 4 degrees. There's different scenarios it's talking about now. We will have an increase of drought, and also increase of dryness of the air, and the increase of sea levels. I don't know whether that's also relevant. Sea level increase is relevant to Mexico, but I noticed that we have tsunami safe area to hide. So actually it's relevant here. And also the frequency of extreme events is actually increased. More drought, more storm, cyclone, that's all affecting us. And also increase the CO2 level. It looks like it's not really relevant, but it's relevant because they improve the productivity sometimes. But I'm mainly focused on since directly relevant to you guys as a farmer. One of the very important things is before we understanding the global warming impact on your mango productions, is actually we understand how actually currently the mango tree flower. That's the stage of the mango got the mature leaves. If the weather is cool enough, in the tropical area especially, less than 15 degree to 18 degree depends on the varieties or cultivars, that will induce flowering, and then with the flowering, then you can have fruiting, and they got your fruit. But if the weather is hot, it's got a spell of hot weather, they turn into flashes. So that year you lost the opportunity to have mangoes. So that's you need to really understand that, and then I explain further the impact of the global warming. So air temperature and the rainfall influence the vegetative, which is the growth of the flashes, and the reproductive phase in mango. That's actually flowering. And they are the two of the most important factors determining the suitability of an area's climate for mango productions. Because global warming, that might change. The region of mango growing might change. I'll give you an example later on from India. Also, the rising temperature in areas currently very hot, for example, where I come from, tropical Australia, for mango production, it maybe makes them unsuitable for mango productions. In probably 30 years' time, there are no mango coming out of the Northern Territory, where I come from, tropical Australia, if we don't do any mitigations, okay? We need to do something. Because the mango will just not flower, they just grow the tree, timber, no fruit. But in the areas previous too cold, in the subtropicals, too cold for mango growing, they might be able to make them more suitable for mango productions. But the problem is, just remember, subtropicals are too good for people living in it. The industry already developing, the agriculture already developing, it don't have land for mango. Forget it. doesn't work. Rainfall is crucial for mangoes because they affect the pollination, success of pollination, and the fruit set. So we need to be very careful. So now we need to consider the matching the crop varieties to the climate, the future climate. We might need to be to think about what will happen to the traditional mango production area and the new areas, which is really reasonable, suitable, and feasible for the new mango production. I take a few examples here. South Asia actually is one of the most affected areas. Mexico is probably okay. I see some statistics and showing Mexico is not too much affected, but some other aspects might affect you. Temperature is mainly affecting in Southeast Asia, and what happens is the mango production is actually shifting towards the north, cool area, and in altitude because it's cooler. And at the flat current mango planting areas, the mango will disappear because it's too hot for them to have a flower. The same issue like where I am, it's tropical areas, it's getting problem, too hot. And also you need to have an operational irrigation system because getting too hot, you need too much of drought, so you need to really. And also, because it's getting hot, what happens? The vegetative growth is too much. You need really pruning them. It's a cost. Pruning is a cost, okay? So you need to think about that one. In the Caribbean area, that's another area has been heavily affected by the global warming. It's the Caribbean area. You will have a lower flower inductions because of warm winter. You have reduced the fruit growth, increased the fruit quality. That's good, positive things. And reduce the vegetative growth. So the pruning is less, but the yield is low. Why? Because you have less flowering and fruit set. The quality is better, but it have less productivities. And that will shift of the mango cultivation area to the windward coastal area or in the altitude. Again, go to the cool area. And you will have less problem because getting drier, less problem with pests and disease. But irrigation will be necessary, and because it have a low vegetative growth, less flashes, then you need less pruning. That's good, positive things. And probably will be suitable for the high density planting of. I don't know whether we have in Mexico. We have already done some research on the on the simulations of the global warming and mango industry. But I doubt, because in 2017, when a professor from a university in Mexico talked about the global warming, he actually have absolutely no value, no data on the mangoes. So it's all talking about the maize or corn, other things. That's the example. The Indians did a good studies on the global warming impact on their mangoes. I take one of the examples, Dashhari. People knows about that. It's actually the current mango production areas. You can see the red ones is the good places where produce the prime and good quality of mangoes. If increased by 0.2 degrees, you can see the areas already shrink. And if it's by 2030 to 2050, from here, a lot of areas can grow mango of these varieties to here. So only a little bit of areas can grow mangoes. That's have a huge impact on the mango industry in India. So that's just one of the examples. They have several other examples. I don't have time to show you because it's not necessary. But yes, and also Australia did studies as well. We simulated, as I said, if we do nothing, my area will have no mango in 20 years' time. Okay. Some research, don't be too pessimistic, we need to be optimistic, okay. We need to select existing adapted cultivars and develop new cultivars. The one tolerant to drought, high temperature, It's mainly the polyembryonic mangoes. You guys only have, I think, most of the are monoembryonic mangoes. A top might be poly. I just check. So they do have some. It's more polyembryonic. Polyploid. The one that with leaves thick and the weaving leaves is polyploid. Sorry, it's not polyembryonic. Polyploid mangoes. The Gomela one from Spain, Kate from Florida, and the Taiwan Gold from Taiwan, as you can understand. And also those mangoes can have a flowering even during high temperature time. Some cultivars, like the Four Seasons in China and Taiwan, they are good candidates for that, at least for research in a breeding program, breeding materials. And also, we need to select the rootstocks. And some rootstock is tolerant to the drought or salinities due to the seed level rise. For example, they have a cultivar 13-1 from Israel, and Norris told me that she has already selected another one better than 13-1. That's even better. And also, we need to select the low vigorous but with strong root system mango rootstocks to deal better with extreme conditions and drought. And also, we need to develop effective, cost-effective, cheaper orchard management tools. We need new chemicals that actually disconnect the flowering from the climate requirement, the requirement for the chilling, for the cool temperature, so we can have flower. So we need better growth regulators. It's a lot of things have happened. As you can, I don't know whether we use PBZ here. Actually, the PBZ has really changed the mango industry in the world. It was actually research developed by a Filipino scientist over 30 years ago, and that had tremendous impact on the mango industry. Really helped the mango to grow in many areas which cannot be commercially viable. Now it's commercially viable. Although PBZ is banned now in European Union, but products more friendly can be used also for develop those chemicals so for the growth regulators. And where I am, the local department is developing some new techniques, so new chemicals for that. Irrigation, you need to have a more efficient irrigation. I think it's tomorrow. Adolf will talk about irrigation. Where's my friend Adolf? And also, which create the favorable microclimates. For example, the over-canopy microsprays, mistering, and also the shading. It's already happening in Perth area, West Australia, where the mango is growing. They have the hot weather and also the very high light, too much of light, and with global warming, they're getting worse. So already they do commercially the netting, the shading already happening. If you want to stay in the business, you need to do something. So I mentioned that mango flowers all year round. Here are two examples. It's all called Four Seasons in China, but one is a Chinese variety, it's green. Another one is Taiwan variety, it's also called the same thing. It's confusing. It's red ones, but birds actually can flower all year round. That's very good genetic material for us to use. And also, I think it's, have other varieties here. Many of the other varieties you can use as well for the studies and also for potentially for use them for your growing. And actually you can see here Nang Dok Mai from Thailand, you might be familiar with. Lennon from India. And the Royal Special, I don't like really Royal Special, but Royal Special does flower all year round in my places. But it can be useful. And I think the one Duncan, I think that people might be familiar with. So there are selections. We can do, the scientists can do more research on that. Conclusion, I'm going to get there, okay. Climate change will have consequences on mango cultivations, but We are not possible to draw a general scenarios for that, but it's a very much regional changes. And then we needed to localize studies, regional studies. But we need to be confident in the future of mango productions. The mango, we have a very genetic variable gene pools. They have a very strong ecological plasticity. That means they can adapt to different conditions. You just select the right mango. They also, mango have the mechanism to cope with the stressful environment. The mango is the most resilient or resistant species for the physiological resilience to the stress, but not necessarily means they can be still maintain good commercial productions. They can survive at least. But we can use those genetic traits for our mango breeding program. And also the mango variety selection will offer the ultimate, will be the ultimate weapon against the consequence of climate variability in terms of mango productions, and the research certainly needed to identify those existing varieties and also better breed some new varieties. Okay, I'm to the last slides. Again, international collaborations, okay, encourage international collaboration. That's my job, to promote international collaborations. Last slide, take-home message for our friends here. Mexico is very lucky to be so close to the world's largest market. You are lucky, but don't take it as granted and be complacent, neither. Not good. You need to be innovative. Francisco, in his speech talk, already mentioned, we need to really be take actions. We just cannot be complacent. We need to look into the future and work on for the future. And you need to remain competitive in the market. And also, others in the region already catching up. That's why I showed you, the Peru, Chile is all coming up within these regions. It's all targeting the same market. That's your strength, but you need act now. You need to establish new plantations using existing new cultivars. You need to try the cultivars already existing in the market. I think the mango board is doing that. And further, you need to develop your national mango breeding program to breed the super mangoes for the targeted market, USA. You need to understand what's their preference for the flavor, color, and nutrient requirements. Then you can develop the best mango. Global change or global warming is real. Think ahead of the problem. Be GC ready. That means be global change ready. Thank you. Gracias. I don't know whether I've got time for question. I'm sorry, maybe scores a little bit of your tea time, so coffee time break. Any questions? I think people may have many questions because I'm touching on many subjects. I welcome you to talk to me in the tea break or lunchtime. I will be here for the whole week. Even I want to visit some of the farmers near the Porto Vita. If some growers want to host my visit, will be much appreciated. This is not a futurist, it's the reality. It's the drones can carry 3 tons of fresh mangoes to the neighboring province. It's happening now. 3 tons drones directly from the growing areas to the consumer areas. It's not futurist, it's happening in China. That's 2017 when I was here. I noticed there was a Chris Soros, and I met his brother yesterday or before yesterday. Thank you. No question? Good. Gracias.
And we have a present for you to thank you for your participation
Thank you.
this day in this event. Muchísimas gracias por la participación. Tenemos un reconocimiento para el doctor de parte de EMEX. Thank you, Dr. Ping
Por su
Lu.
participación en este segundo congreso. Nos abrió el panorama internacional, una charla muy interesante.
Muy, muy interesante.